What is a neutral accent and how do you actually get it? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hey there Ninja! Welcome back to my channel. This is Rhea once again and you're still watching Call Center Ninja. If you're new here, I share real stories and tips to help you begin, enjoy, and survive your call center lifestyle. So please consider subscribing. Just click the red subscribe button down below and thank you so much if you have already subscribed. A lot of people have actually messaged me about having problems with their accent. How do they usually go about it when they are applying for a call center job? Because a lot of people are under the impression that for you to be accepted in a call center, you have to have the American accent, or what they call the twang accent. You know, when you have to slide your tongue all the way so that you sound American. Well, actually, a lot of call centers already accept neutral accent speakers. But don't get me wrong, because there are still call centers in the country that are strictly looking for those who have American accent or near native accent, meaning you sound almost like an American. But what I'm going to talk about today is having a neutral English accent. By dictionary definition, when you say neutral accent, it is actually the accent or the way you sound when you speak a certain language that does not really suggest your roots, your origin, or where you live, where you are living, or where you come from. So for example, if I'm speaking to you right now and I say that I have a neutral English accent, in most cases, a lot of people will likely think that I may not be from the Philippines. And I'm saying this not to humble brag or anything, okay? Just want to be careful with that. And I also want to tell you that this video is not intended to discriminate any accent or any language for that matter, because I respect each accent and each language, you know, no matter how people sound when they speak it. And I think that there's really something special with each language. But what I'm going to point out right now is when you are applying in a call center that needs you to have a neutral accent so that they can actually hire you. I'm not an expert about different accents. I've mentioned in my previous videos that I don't sound American, I don't sound British, I just sound neutral. So my tip number one is to drop the tune of your vernacular language or your native language. I'm not saying that you forget it entirely, but for the sake of applying for a job like this, then you have to practice getting used to sounding neutral. And if you notice, when you speak in English and you have this distinct regional accent, you sound like you are singing. So I'm going to give you an example. There is a musical flair to it and it's very obvious when you speak. Like people will really know that, oh, that is Filipino-English. So if you hear someone say the English language like this, "Thank you for calling ABC Bank. My name is Rhea. How can I help you today?" "Yes, ma'am." "Yes, sir." "Yes, sir, I can certainly help you with that, sir." So if you notice, there's like a musical flair to it. It's like you're singing. So you have to practice dropping that musical tone and just sound neutral. And how do you do that? It really just takes practice. Listen and observe. I say this all the time because it really works. When it comes to learning the English language, whether it's comm skills, pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and even with accent, you really learn the best way through listening and observation. So how do you do it? As usual, I would always tell you to watch English movies or American movies, and watch a native speaker speak the language or American speaker and look at the way they move their mouth, because that has something to do. In fact, it largely affects the way you sound, not just over the phone, but in your personal conversation. So you can record yourself, look at the mirror so that you will see how your mouth moves, and you can imitate how that native speaker that you've watched on television or in person, you can imitate how they speak and how they move their mouth to produce a certain sound. And you might think that it's a very time-consuming process. Yes, it is, because it's a learning process and it's a skill that you have to really do and practice daily. Repetition is the key to success. When you repeat it and do it every single day, you will get progress. Not overnight. Try to imitate them, but do not be too trying hard in a sense that you sound like you really badly want to sound like them. As I've mentioned, you do not have to sound like them exactly or perfectly, but you just have to at least get rid of your vernacular sound or the musical flair of your accent or the way you speak. My tip number 3 is to have an audio dictionary ready. What I usually use is really just Google. Just Google how to pronounce amiable in the English language, how to pronounce pronunciation in the English language, and you'll see a lot of search results. You can listen to the pronunciation on YouTube or on the dictionary that you have online. So make sure that you listen to the audio part and listen to it again and again and again. And I always prefer the audio dictionary because it's easier to learn instead of looking at the actual dictionary that has the phonetics and it's spelled out phonetically. It's a little bit hard or even harder to get used to it, especially if you're not familiar with phonetics. Whereas if you listen to it directly using the audio version, you will just repeat it in your head over time. And eventually you'll get to learn how it's pronounced. And it affects your accent as well. For example, you can check on the stress of the syllables or words and how American speakers put stress on words, because it actually changes the meaning of the word. If we take the word calendar, for example, some people may say calendar. I love your calendar. Let me take a look at your calendar, instead of saying, let me take a look at your calendar. So when you say calendar, it obviously reflects that you are not a native speaker because it's not pronounced as calendar. It's pronounced as calendar. Or maybe that's not exactly the way it's pronounced in English, but it sounds like that. So that's your goal for now, to sound like a Native American or to be near native and not necessarily to be a native speaker like that. So there's a very big difference. If you repeat that, it's calendar. It's a very regional accent versus calendar, right? So take a look and listen to those words using your Google or audio dictionary. My tip number 4 is to take note of the common pronunciation tips and accent tips of the English language. So for example, the letter R at the end of the word. If you take the word better, B-E-T-T-E-R, and you have a regional accent, you may say it like better or better, better, right? There's like triple R at the end of the word. But when you are speaking it in the English language, it's better if you go to the mall than to somewhere else. And when you have a regional accent, you tend to say, this is better. This is actually better than this. Oh, this is better. Another one is the letter O, the long O. If you say the word N-O and you're using the American English accent, then you say no. Or S-O, you say so. But when you're using the regional accent, sometimes some people will say no. No, 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 no. Or so what? Or no, 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 no. That's not the case. So that's just an example that I'm giving to give you an idea of how it sounds like if you are a regional accent speaker or when you're trying to be near native or American English speaker. And I want to stress that this is not you trying hard to be an English speaker, but this is you doing this because you want to get the job and you want to have that skill that is necessary to get the job in your workplace. My tip number 5, my last tip, is to always ask for feedback or coaching. You can speak with a language coach or language trainer. If you're already hired, you can even ask your trainer, your supervisor, how to speak a certain language or how to sound like if there's a certain sentence or statement that you'd like to effectively communicate with your customer. And always ask questions. If you don't know how to pronounce it, if you feel that your accent is not really at par with what your account has or what the requirement is of that call center, then learn how to speak that language. Again, it does not hurt to ask. It does not hurt to ask for feedback or for coaching. It will really be for your own good. And so that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. I hope you've learned something. And you know what? Just keep going and just keep learning with whatever that you can learn from the internet or from the people who are credible sources of information. So as usual, if you like this content, please like, subscribe if you haven't. I have videos every Wednesdays and Fridays. So see you again next time. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. It's Call Center Ninja. Take care and bye-bye.